hope she's available.
Yeah, I don't.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hi.
Excuse me.
Start.
Hi, Tanisha.
Hello.
How about you tell me a little bit about what's bringing you in today?
Well, we're coming up toward the end of the first semester, and I know my grades are not as good as they should be, and I'm barely passing, and I know I should tell my parents about it. I knew that my grades were bad around midterm, but I kept it to myself and I didn't tell my parents, and I know I should tell them because they pay my tuition or whatever, and I know I should talk to the teachers, but I just sit in the classroom and it's just whatever. And I mean, I think I know what I need to do, but when I think about what I need to do, it's so much. I'm just not sure that I'll be able to do it by the end of the semester. I don't know that I'll be able to pull it off and get a passing grade by the end of the semester.
Okay. Well, that sounds very overwhelming and stressful for you.
It is.
It sounds like maybe it was pretty hard for you to keep that to yourself all this time.
It was.
But I mean, honestly, good for you for finally realizing that you need to say something before it's too late. So at least you know the things that you do need to do in order to either ask for help or try to improve your grades. So what are some of those things that you think you need to do?
I mean, like, I don't write my assignments down. So I should probably do that. I know we get a syllabus, and I should probably print that out. I do a lot in class. I should probably pay attention. I should probably.
Like really good steps to start to try and change your study habits.
Yeah, but I'm so into my art.
Oops, sorry.
I'm so into my art. I'm more into my art than I am into school.
Well, so how do you think going to school is going to affect your art in the long run?
I don't know. I'm in college because my parents told me I had to go.
Do you think that maybe getting a degree and earning money could possibly result in you being able to afford doing fun hobbies or being able to afford art supplies and things like that in order to further your hobby of doing art?
Yes, and I can take art as an elective, which is cool.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would like to make that as maybe a goal for the next few semesters as you're doing, you're getting through your program, if you can take another elective?
I don't know. I might be on academic probation if I don't pass this semester, so it's hard for me to think toward the future right now.
Right. That sounds very stressful. I think that with everything that you have going on, maybe let's go back to those first steps that you were talking about. Maybe let's print out your syllabus, start writing down your assignments. Do you think that if you started doing those things that your grades would improve in your class?
I think so.
And then what about your parents or your teachers? Do you think that you would like to talk to them and let them know what's going on, or do you want to try it on your own first and see what you can improve before you say something?
Well, I've tried it on my own and it's not working out. So I should probably talk to my professor before talking to my parents to see
That is a great step.
if I could turn it around.
So, what do you think that your professor might say?
Um,
Do you have a relationship with your professor to where you are comfortable talking with them?
no.
Time.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Oh, the speaker's the one who's supposed to do the debrief, huh?
I think so.
Okay. So, okay. So,
So as a timekeeper, I guess I'll ask you, how did you feel in this interaction, speaker?
yeah.
We'll start the time now.
Okay.
So how
Oh,
did you feel?
um, it was hard for me because I can't relate to this character. I'm so OCD about my assignments. I cannot relate to a lazy college student. So it was hard.
Right. And Linda, how did you feel about it?
It was kind of hard to keep coming up with questions to get her to the next step and say that she like wanted to change. But I mean, we kind of got there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, from the Ower's perspective, what did you gather as far as like the ratio goes?
I think you did a good job, Linda, coming up with questions. You did give a lot of good affirmation, as in like it's good that you recognize this, and like I understand that you're stressed, but just like understand you're very understanding of how she was. And then on top of that, you did provide a lot of reflection of like what she's going through, and like summarize that, and then try to get somewhere like for her to change her how she is, and like try to be more committed to school.
Just going off of like what we're supposed to do as far as like using I can, Linda, you kind of did, you do that by like,
Yeah, I don't.
when you felt she was kind of slack, like you couldn't, not slacking, sorry. When you noticed that she wasn't like, she was still in the ambivalence process, like one way or another, you did indicate what the issue is again, and you did suggest, a few things, reminding her like what's necessary. So as far as the darn cats go, from the speaker perspective, because Linda, you indicated some of the steps, Tanisha, you were able to like say like, yeah, these are things, like you suggested things for yourself, which, you didn't say that you were gonna do it, but you made it like an initiative that you could do it. So you recognizing, Linda, you did help her recognize that. And then by evoking the change, I saw that you, as a speaker, you did mention a step that you could definitely do, which is like, I think you mentioned about like the just talking to someone about it and the report card and whatnot. So that was good. And because you emphasized a lot of like, I should, or I can, like there was a lot of ability coming from you, Tanisha. So yeah, I feel like that would allow someone to really want to change. I think so when you're like saying it out loud, because it allows you to recognize that you can do it. But anyway, so that's time right there.
Okay. And
Yeah.
hi, Courtney.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So tell me what brings you in today.
Well, I've decided to eat healthier. I think it's better for me. And so the idea is good, but then my intentions are not that well. I do have a sweet tooth, so I'm like really tempted to eat, and I just crave like other snacks. I mean, I'm good with eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but my problem area is just snacking throughout the night. I love ice cream, and that's a huge problem because it's not helping me at all. I'm not that crazy about fruit, and I just think I want to get eat healthier, but I'm having trouble with the whole snacking and managing what times I should eat.
So you want to eat healthier, but snacking has become a problem for you. You mentioned you intend to do well, but sometimes you don't. What have you tried?
I've tried to, have a good meal for each, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But then I don't know if it's that I'm not eating enough, but I get hungry. And that's where the cravings come in. And I just feel like having something, I just have a little bit of something sweet. It's okay, but it's really not. So I'm struggling with that. And I don't know how to, it's hard for me, so I don't know how to fix it.
Um, I've talked to a few people who have gone through similar experiences. Is it okay for me to share that with you?
Yes, please.
Share something I've learned with you? Okay, so you say that you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, are you eating foods that are high in sugar content or added sugars and
Um,
highly processed?
Not maybe for lunch, but not for breakfast. Breakfast, I enjoy having yogurt and granola. I don't know if that's how good that is or my portion size for that. Lunch is kind of hard because I do go out to eat lunch when I'm done, when I'm on my break at work. And then dinner, it's a hit or miss. If I have time to make dinner, I'll try to make a good meal, but it's really hard juggling with like work and then coming home, pick up the kids and stuff. It's just hard, and the easiest way is just to pick up something.
So you have a really busy schedule, so you tend to turn to fast food a lot. Sometimes fast foods can contain a lot of sugar, and when you consume sugar, it causes you to crave more sugar. What do you think about that?
That's interesting because I guess a lot of the foods I choose do contain sugar, a lot of sugar, but I don't really notice. I just like it, and I think that I mean I try to make a good um, choice at least for one meal during the day. So I feel like at least one meal should help me, but it's really not.
So, understanding or knowing what you know now about sugar content, what are some things that you may would consider trying differently with your meal planning?
Well, maybe I should. Maybe yogurt could be a little bit high in sugar. Maybe I could change it. I've heard things about Greek yogurt. I'm not really sure um, how that tastes, but I think that's might be a healthier option. I guess a natural sugar content like fruit, except I don't really like fruit, so I don't know. I don't know. I only like like certain amount of fruit, like just like berries and that's about it. Any
Well,
type of
that's an
fruit.
excellent option. That's an excellent option to add to Greek yogurt. So you enjoy yogurt, and so you've recognized that you can choose a different type of yogurt and just add your fresh fruit with less sugar versus having the yogurt with the additional sugar in there. I think that'll be
Yeah,
helpful.
I think I can give it a try.
What other ideas?
Time.
Oh, okay. It's always so awkward.
You reset it for the debrief.
All right,
You start
Okay.
the debrief.
debrief. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Is it me as the speaker
So
first? Or?
yeah. So for the speaker, how did that feel for you?
I think it was a little bit hard because that's not me at all. I do eat healthy, so it's kind of hard just coming up with what to say. But I think you're like really trying to get me to think of positives and what to cut back on. Like your example of like the sugar content being too high was good, and try to like help me focus on one thing at a time, because we're, talking about breakfast and that had high sugar content in my breakfast. So just you're able to help me focus on like one thing at a time. And I think if we continued, we'd be able to like, go through each meal and then probably the snacking and stuff. So it was good. It was just kind of hard for me.
Yeah.
What about you, Tanisha?
I thought it went well. She did a really good job with her scenario, so I didn't have to really pull too much information out of her. For me as the coach, though, the only thing that was going through my mind was ears I can soar, and am I going to get all of this in 5 minutes? So I was worrying about checking the blocks.
Yeah. So for me, the darn cats, you did a good job, Courtney, with like really expressing like your desire to change and talking about like you really want to stop snacking and you're kind of picky, you don't like yogurt and stuff or fruit. So like you express your desire to eat more salads. And then I think I got the activation kind of confused too. So I think that when you were saying that like you could eat more yogurt and stuff like that, I think that's more activation because it's more like you're saying that like you're willing to or you're ready to, but it's not making a full on commitment. Do you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, I get that confused with ability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
That's
for
what
the
I don't.
ability, I was thinking it was just like when you're like, well, I mean, I do like salads and I do like yogurt. It's basically saying like I mean, I guess I'm able to eat those things. I don't choose to, but I'm able to do it. I feel like
Yeah.
kind of the difference between the two. But so that's really what I saw for you with the darn cat. We didn't quite get to the like full commitment to taking the steps, but I think you were getting there if we had like an extra minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. For the oars,
Yeah.
there was a lot as far as your tactic, Tanisha. You did a lot of open-ended questions, and you did reflect with like summarizing. Like you applied the I can by like indicating what she can do, as well as like summarizing what she like just suggestions that she was able to do, and you throwing in the advice based on like what your experience has been with anyone else, your other clients, that kind of guided her and allowed her to really think about other options, or and you even educated her on it too. So that was something that I noted. There wasn't a lot of affirmation, but you did praise her by saying like excellent on taking that right step and whatnot. So that was pretty good because you acknowledged like what she has already done and can even continue with. So that's what I got.
Time. That was good.
Right.
Time.
Oh.
Hi,
Sorry.
Audrey.
Hi,
Audrey,
Courtney. How are you?
How are you? Good, thank you.
Good.
So what brings you here today?
To be honest, I didn't really want to come here, but my anxiety has been getting the best of me because I've realized I think I have an issue with drinking, but I haven't come to terms with it because I don't identify. I mean, I live with an alcoholic, which is my dad, and I see his drinking habits and I can control it. But long story short, I feel like after graduating, because in college I used to drink heavily, but it wasn't every night. Basically, I would go out maybe, once or twice a week. And I'll be honest, I had more than I should be drinking because the next day I wouldn't remember what happened the night before. However, I can't say that I'm an alcoholic because like I can stop, but when I go out is when I find myself over drinking. Now I have tried, pacing myself, but it's like once I take those shots, I don't know if it's just consuming it so fast that I just don't realize it, but I end up blacking out again. And it's not often, like I said, I don't think I'm an alcoholic, but I'm just here because I find myself, I don't know if it's coping with social anxiety or what, that I have to have a cup in my hand. So I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't think it's an issue. Like I said, I don't do it every day, but like, I don't think it's good for me either. And it scares me with the history. So I don't know what to do.
So it sounds to me that you realize it's a problem or it's an issue, but then at the same time, you don't think that you have an issue because you're not doing it that often. Like it's just, once in a while at night with your friends.
Right. I have control. I mean, it's not like I crave a drink in the day. Like I see my dad, he just drinks randomly, but I can control it. It's just when I go out, I don't get why I get like that.
But you also said that you don't remember things the next day. Do you think that's like, how do you feel about that?
But everyone does it. Everyone blacks out. I mean, I've heard stories of people,
So do you think it's more,
what was that?
sorry, I like kind of, do you think it's more like of a like social pressure, like just the fear of missing out?
I think it could be that. I don't know. I just find myself that once I'm out, everyone has a drink. It's like if I'm not holding a drink, I don't know what else to do with myself. And that just initially, I just want to instinctively drink.
Okay. Well, I don't think that the problem is necessarily like you realize that you might consume too much, but maybe it's more of just a social anxiety type of thing, just like the fear of missing out. Do you think that the people that you hang out with could be a reason for this?
I mean, I haven't really thought of that. Maybe it's the environment itself now that I think about it. Where I find myself drinking the most like that is more so like not so much professional setting because I think I can tame it, but it's more so like clubs or like bars. It's like the moment someone says shots, that's the first thing I want to do, and then it doesn't hit me. So then what do? I continue. But I mean, it's not bad to have someone just encourage,
Well, I could I share something with you that I've heard that other people like doing with this problem.
Yeah, I guess.
So well, I mean, you have to also think about your limits because you can't exceed the alcohol limit. So taking shots all the time, it might not be the best scenario for you. Um, I think a lot of people struggled with the social part, just fitting in and just fitting in with everyone else and doing what everyone else is doing. However, at the same time, this isn't the best for you and for your health because there's a lot of problems that come along with that, and also in the future, like alcoholism and along those lines. So for you, I think it'd be best to try just cutting back, maybe not going out as much as a possibility because it sounds like it's just when you go out. So maybe if you cut back on not on going out with your friends and really cut back on
Time.
how much you drink. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, and start.
So from the speaker's perspective, I can kind of like relate with the subject a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like you recognize that you have an issue, but it's like you don't think it's an issue because you can't control it. However, the way that you did it, Courtney, like you did suggest some things that if it truly was an issue, I should probably take into consideration because, it is bad for my health and with the family history too. But also taking into account other factors that someone else might not realize, it's hard to believe that maybe you have other influences when like you're so sure of yourself that no, like there's no outside influences, but that could be a possibility. So you mentioning that was almost like a trigger, like, okay, maybe this could be another problem that is not so much tied to me, but I can change my environment. So that helped a little bit, but good job on keeping up, Courtney.
So
Courtney, what about you?
as a coach, like
Ooh,
I'm
Uh-oh,
not
she froze.
alcoholic, but everything that
Okay.
you were saying was like, oh,
it cut off a little bit.
uh,
We couldn't hear you.
oh, oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, you're just, very sure that you weren't alcoholic and other outside factors, but I was trying to like see, because you were just saying like the issue was like when you go out with your friends at night, and so that was definitely a factor that influencing the drinking habits. So I was just trying to help you recognize that. It was a little bit hard because you're just like, nope, I'm not alcoholic. This is what it is. But I tried to, yeah, try to for you, like to get you to recognize that it was a problem for your health, and maybe just cutting back and the people that you hang out with, just recognizing them. So yeah.
Okay, so for the client for the darn cat, for desire, there was no desire to change because you were determined that you do not have a problem. You did for ability, you did mention that you can stop and that you can control it and that you think you can tame it, but then at the same time, you mentioned how you black out and taking, when you hear shots is a trigger. For reason, it didn't really talk about behavior change, but you did acknowledge social anxiety being an issue. And you realize that it's an issue, but you denied that it's an issue that requires attention at this time. But go ahead, Linda.
Okay, so for the ors, you did a really good job with a lot of open-ended questions. So, like when you were asking like how she felt about, how that makes her feel when she wakes up and doesn't remember anything. And then I think you did a good job when you kind of just introduced the idea of like maybe you just have a fear of missing out. It was like it was an open-ended question, but then it ended up being a good reflection too. And then it sucks because at the end when you got cut off, I had that I thought that was good that, like, you introduced the idea of maybe if she doesn't have a problem, so not making her feel bad about it, but at least maybe just not hanging out with her friends as much would be a good solution. So you introduced that idea really nicely.
Go.
Hi, Linda, and welcome.
Hi.
What brings you in today?
Well, here's the deal. I came in here thinking that maybe it's just bad luck that I got caught. But I just got a DUI and my blood alcohol was only in a 0.08. So when they pulled me over, I really didn't drink that much. I know that I was tired. And you have talked to me about how, alcohol can interact with your body. And I guess now I'm just feeling lucky that nobody got hurt. I don't actually want to stop drinking or anything, but like I'm thinking that I need to really make some better drinking choices because it's not worth it. I don't want to be here doing this again, and I just can't believe I got in a car and drove off drunk.
Right. Well, I want to applaud you for recognizing, that you were putting others at risk by mentioning that you are so thankful that no one got hurt. So good for you for recognizing that. And because of that, it sounds like it has led you to question the steps that you should take as far as possibly controlling the way that you drink. I know it sounds like you don't want to stop the drinking.
No, I don't.
The fact that you want to at least think of other ways of reducing the risk by making other choices with drinking. It sounds like you might be going towards some direction here as far as change goes. Now, with that being said, how were you feeling when that happened after your DUI? What was it that, besides feeling that, you could have hurt someone, like what was your immediate thought?
I was so embarrassed and so ashamed that I even did it. To be honest, I really didn't even think I was gonna blow up 0.08. I really didn't feel like I was drunk. So I was obviously definitely like scared and surprised. So I know that I need to just take it all more seriously, and I know that I need to be better about it. I just don't really know how to do that because I really didn't feel like I was all that bad.
And like you said, you were scared. You recognize. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, you're back.
You recognize that, in that moment you were scared. It is a scary situation. You didn't even realize you were drunk. It took you to below the 0.08 on and showing that it was that high of a blood alcohol level. But it did lead you to having the DUI, and you say that you're ashamed. Why would you say you're ashamed? What makes you embarrassed?
Well, I think that just knowing that, you should never get behind the wheel of a car when you've been drinking, and you never want to take that chance. I just think of all the times I took that chance and was really lucky, and this time I just wasn't. It's just so embarrassing. I was like on the side of the road, and there was a cop, and there was people driving past, and it was just so just humiliating. And I know that this is going to stick with me now forever, as I have to put this on job applications, and I have to tell my mom this is going to be really expensive.
Right.
I don't know how to get out of this.
And it's frustrating because now you have to disclose that to loved ones. And you did mention that you want to think of some other low risk drinking choices. So what comes to mind when you think of that? Tell me a little bit how you think that you could possibly do that, especially if you don't want to stop immediately.
Well, I know that I probably just shouldn't go out quite as often because I'm not going to have a whole lot of money with all the court fees I'm going to be paying. But definitely probably riding with someone else or taking a cab is probably a good step.
I think that's a great idea, especially having someone, drive for you and whatnot. But if that is the case, what will you be doing about the drinking then? I know you said you won't be going out as much, it's going to help with saving money. But if someone else is driving, how will that help you with the drinking?
I definitely don't want to drink that much anymore. I really wasn't drinking very much, but I definitely don't want to drink enough to where I feel confident that I can do something like that again. So cutting back on alcohol would be a good idea too.
Yeah, and you say you want to cut back, which, that again is also towards the right direction. Like we went back, I know you keep saying that you were lucky, but, in a situation like that where someone could have gotten hurt, we sometimes put ourselves in a situation where we imagine it's a loved one. How would you feel about that? That if that other person in the other car was a loved one, because you keep saying it's luck, but what if it was? Like, how would that make you feel? And how would that question how you drink?
Hi.
Okay.
Oh God.
Is it 3 minutes of?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, speaker, how'd you feel?
Okay, so as a speaker, it wasn't bad. We went back and forth pretty well. I just kind of remembered something my sister got a TY years ago, so I was able to feed off of that. So I think that if we're able to make the scenarios more personable and stuff, it's a lot easier to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty comfortable.
As the coach, like you said, Tanisha, I was like trying to think of, okay, I can sort it's tough because you want to think of those things as well and how to put it into verbiage, like how to, and not ask as many questions, but say like, tell me how you know what I mean? Without trying to like impose what I think you should do. So I felt like, I was trying to aim more on her telling me the steps she wants to do instead of like imposing, but it's hard to get around that.
Yeah.
Especially when the person's like, still wanting to drink and goes back to the scenario that we just did. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to stop you and I don't want to tell you to stop because you have to get yourself to stop. But because like they say, like an addict can only make themselves stop. But it's tough when you're trying to guide the person.
I agree, but I think that you did a really good job. You asked some really good open-ended questions and just really got her to just really open up and even got her to admit her shame without judgment. You were very calm and very understanding about that. And that seemed to be like the light bulb that caused a switch for her, where she started thinking, you know what, I probably don't want to drink as much as I used to anymore because now I don't want to harm someone. So I think that was really good. You did a really good job with affirmation and with reflection as well. And you did a good job summarizing when she was feeling scared and, you know, didn't realize that she was under the influence when she had her DUI. So I thought it was really good. And the biggest thing is you were very non-judgmental and you were just giving her some good feedback, so, and got her to open up and talk a lot.
Almost, but I think that you did a really good job, Audrey, just to add to that, because like Linda, she didn't want to stop drinking in the beginning, but she wanted to change and make things safer for other people. But then at the end, you literally got her to say, okay, maybe I shouldn't drink as much. So that was really good. So again, so Linda, like your desire, you didn't really want to like change the drinking part of it as much as in the beginning. Sorry, my timer's going off. But but like towards the end, like you made that change. And then like your ability, like you realize like that you can make this change. But you also realize that you could make other changes for other people by not going out as much to help yourself, and also taking a cab to help other people and like prevent other like risks for other people on the road. Again, your reasoning behind this was because like you felt embarrassed because you never got caught, but this time you did, and I guess, and also like you just didn't want to put other people at risk. So you realized that there was a really strong need for change. So your commitment part wasn't there as much in the beginning because you really weren't really committed to not drinking as much because you felt fine, as you said, but like you realized you have to change. So you're again like you're ready, and you realize what steps you could take by taking a cab and just not going out as much. So throughout the whole thing, I think it was really good because Audrey got her to like literally change her mind from the beginning. So I think it was really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.